Felvidek is definitely one of the games I've played this year. It classifies itself as being a medieval dark fantasy JRPG set in 15th century Slovakia. Which is all true information, I just can't help but feel like they're leaving out a detail or two. Felvidek's title screen greets you with one of the most epic tunes I think any title screen has ever delivered. This is awesome. I can't wait to fucking die of dysentery or whatever they did in 15th century Slovakia. The first thing that happens in this game is an extremely peculiar cutscene. I'm not sure what art style I should call this. I would say PS1 inspired, but this is even lower quality than PS1, which I didn't know was possible. Whatever it is, I love it. The gist of the cutscene is that there was an explosion in some tower and we're gonna go check it out because we're a brave Slovakian knight. Okay, we aren't a brave Slovakian knight. Our first glimpse at our character shows him in a room with a bottle, another bottle, another bottle, and a fallen chalice. So basically we're an alcoholic, and not just a normal Eastern European alcoholic. Sorry, I don't really know anything about Europe, so I just like to throw out random stereotypes to see if they fit. Also, I think Slovakia is more Central Europe than Eastern, but that's besides the point. Loot the room for some helpful gear and then go out the door, and you get to experience the first bit of dialogue in this game. My fucking face. Have you seen this man? There's no way this is our main character. Holy fuck. I respect how disgustingly ugly Felvidek allows itself to be. Terrain looks decrepit and moldy, character models look like they smell like a fungal infection, and your character runs like he has something up his ass. Anyways, this Josef character tells you to take this priest Matej with you to check out the flaming castle, and after getting him to reluctantly agree to come with you and looting every building in town, you enter your first fight with some knobhead salesman that says you stink like a polecat. Which is this little guy, I guess. Fights in Felvidek are about exactly what you would expect from a JRPG. Essentially a one-to-one recreation of the Earthbound combat style. The biggest difference is that the attacks are accompanied by pretty cool animations and some of the most blown out audio I've ever heard in a game. As hilarious as this sound is, it is unbelievably satisfying, and the sound changes drastically depending on which special move you use, which drains this tools bar, which is just the energy system in this game. Run out of tool and you have to resort to normal attacks and items. The salesman goes down pretty easily and we can move along to checking out that castle. Along the way, however, we run into a couple bands of Hussites. Here you learn very quickly that status effects can be really annoying in this game, particularly stuns, which it seems like nearly every opponent has the ability to do and just takes away your next turn. It's not the end of the world, especially because you can stun them as well, but it's very frustrating to just lose turns repeatedly in a fight.
Guy in the middle's pulling the old Willem Dafoe pose.
After getting shot a few times, drinking a few bottles of plum wine, then losing my save data and needing to repeat everything, I'm able to reach the burnt tower, which contains a strange object. When you bring it back to Josef, he tells you to take this letter to his guard, but on your way, you run into something horrible. Your ex-wife. She slaps you and calls you a drunk, which is true, but way out of line. And then she walks off. Turns out the guard named Janky, he's taking a massive shit because he was poisoned by her ex-wife. You get him biscuits and herbs to help his stomach, but it turns out he was actually in cahoots with her ex and runs away with her. Luckily, he leaves behind a trail of feces leading back to him, but it's a trap, and you get ambushed by cultists. We actually beat them pretty easily and then go to sleep, to which we get the next cutscene.
What the fuck?
What is this creature, and why does it have a legume for a head? Well, it turns out that this was Janky, but he was transformed into this creature by getting poisoned. This is the main conflict in the story. This cultist group is wreaking havoc and turning people into monsters, and we need to stop them. Next, we go to the Burgomaster to seek information about these strange events, and he tells us to see a priest and a Jew. This is the start of some shitty bar joke. After getting stripped naked for a period of time and fighting off some more cultists, we find the priest. In a brothel. This pisses Matej off so much he challenges him to a fight, but we only actually get to fight his underlings. We then go and find the Jew in a cabin in the forest, and is this racist? This definitely would be a bit racist if it wasn't for every single character looking like the most disgusting creature of all time. His house has been invaded, so we fight off a few scoundrels, then he lets us know how to actually identify the cultists, which is by the vampiric fangs painted on their helmets. We then learn from the Burgomaster that we need to find a man named Root, who is the benefactor for the cultist organization. The Burgomaster gets attacked by these handsome gentlemen, to which we fight them off and he gives us some gear. You then save a girl from throwing herself into a river, and she promises she can get you some insider information about the cultists, as she is a member but has lost faith in them. We use a passcode to get into their main base, and honestly, they seem like pretty cool dudes. They agree to let us into the inner circle as long as we get them a salacious painting that Joseph owns. We bring it to them and they let us meet Ignac, one of the ringleaders, who tells us that he will let us into the organization if we kill a man who has betrayed the cult and slice off the tattoo on his ass as proof. We do the only logical thing and find the man in a church and flay the tattoo off his ass while he's alive so he can live and we can get in the organization. The next time we meet Ignac, he finds out what we did, so we give a signal out the window so they can shoot a flaming arrow in. It's around this point that enemies start getting weirder and weirder. We beat them and then go back and fight off an invasion on our castle. After this, you decide to go into a pub to gather some more information about the cult from some members, but you swap garbs with Matej to be less recognizable. In the process, Matej gets shit-faced and kidnapped, and just as you're about to follow, your bitch ex-wife shows up to make fun of your excellent outfit. Finally, you knock her out and bring her into the pub. When she wakes up, she apologizes and begs for forgiveness. And then things begin to get freaky. Oh shit. After briefly getting to play as your bitch ex-wife, you awake to some feverish visions and a flaming sword on the ground. You pick up the sword and go to save Matej, who's been kidnapped in a barn, and God, this guy looks awesome. Can we just appreciate that for a second? You save Matej and rush back to the burgomaster's village, which is being burned and ransacked. After stopping the attack and picking up some team members in true Earthbound style, we get in the Jew's air balloon and fly to the top of the ruined castle, which was otherwise locked. Once inside the castle, we go to the basement so we can fight this flaming head fellow who has been corrupted and wants us to release him from his torment. This is when we're introduced to my favorite move in this game, murder. It just kills you.
So he has a move named Murder, and it just murders you?
Weirdly enough, it wasn't that difficult of a fight.
Oh, sick animation, dude.
We then get a cursed flaming blade and get back into the balloon. After flying back to the pub, we find that everyone in there has been killed. Except fucking Pisshead. Man, fuck that guy. You go and pull this tentacle out of this dead fella, to which you're able to place it in this gargoyle to get into a secret lair. We also pick up a gun around this point in the game, which I must say, just as great as I expected it to be. It really feels like you're just blowing the fuck out of your enemy. I should be more careful with my words. It makes you need to reload for an additional turn after you use it, but that's completely worth it because it insta-kills 90% of all enemies. The lair is filled to the brim with a bunch of interesting looking bad guys, but the real kicker comes when you enter the mouth of this massive lizard thing. Enemies become even more fucked up and twisted. The floor is made of spirals of inner organs. There's this old lady with sharp fingernails. Ugh. At one point when you're halfway in the stomach, you can just pull this naked man out of the ground. Finally, you get to the castle where the final battle takes place. This cultist from earlier has harnessed this sun power somehow and is now extremely powerful. This fight is goddamn hard. The powerful sidekicks are tough to kill, but they aren't the reason this fight is so hard. The murder ability can take you out instantly still, but that's not the reason why the fight is so hard. Everyone has a ton of health. Again, not why this fight is so hard. This fight is hard because the main boss can cast a spell that heals her every round for over 100 health points.
This may be the longest fight. Did she just heal 133? Did she just heal 133?
The trick to beating her is using porridge to refresh your tool so you can spam gunshots as much as you can in order to at least try to outdamage her healing ability, then using Alpa to bring any fallen comrades back to life. In the end, Pavel was dead, and everyone else was severely debuffed with very little tool, so I just couldn't win. Oh! Yeah! Burn that man. Woman? Burn that androgynous twink. And in the end, is that a soy jack? In the end, Matej returns to being a priest, the burgomaster stays rich, Ida, the thief, continues to make sure the cult never gains traction after their defeat, and Polly decides to forgive his bitch wife. What a beautiful story. Yeah, Felvidek was a pretty fun game. It seems to take a lot of inspiration from Hylix, a very similar and also very good game, and combines some slapstick comedy and funny dialogue to make it all feel very playful. Password.
Give me peace with ye passwords, fool. What? Hast ye already forgotten? I converse with your leader. I know not what ye partook of, such that information hath not remained in your skull.
It's all translated to English from, I believe, Hungarian, so the dialogue can be a bit rough and is sort of a mock Old English with Hungarian phrases thrown in, which can be a bit awkward. There's also a few too many moments in the game where you're actually supposed to lose a fight to continue the story, which can make you start to question which fights you're supposed to lose and win. The map is also very small, so there's a lot of running back and forth, but there's also a lot of interesting moments where secrets open up. Kinda like Dark Souls. There are even fun little secrets and side quests, like finding clothes for this naked old man in a river, or setting up the whorehouse priest on a date, or even finding hidden locations.
Oh shit. This ain't Slovakia.
Those are really my only complaints. I was overall very happy with Felvidek, and I felt like I got my money's worth, so I'd recommend giving it a shot if it's your sort of game. And outro. And outro. Ugh.